Hey there, my fellow lunatics. Dakon the Mad here, and today I want to talk to you about my favorite build in Corekeeper, the Dodge build. I talked about this briefly in my Morpha killing video, and I wanted to expand on that, because the Dodge build isn't just good for killing Morpha, it's a good build for all bosses, and really just exploring in general. So, what is the dodge build? Well, the dodge build is getting your character to a 90% dodge chance. 90% is the maximum that dodge can get to, so anything above 90% is essentially a waste. With this build, we'll get you to a 91% dodge right before food, so we're going to max out the dodge chance without any need for buff food. This will allow you to actually focus your buff food elsewhere. So why the dodge build? What makes this build superior to other builds? I like it best because I rarely have to heal while I'm exploring, and during a boss fight, I only have to heal once or twice, depending on the boss. This build is versatile toward playstyles, and it allows you to use either melee or ranged attacks. I've been using this build primarily for melee, though really ranged works just as well. I prefer to use the Runesong sword, but any melee weapon works for this build. So if you have the Anchor Axe, the Poison Sickle, or even just the Scarlet Sword, this build works. I also like that while this build uses Sunken Sea items, it doesn't use exclusively Sunken Sea items. There's another build out there that focuses on boss damage reduction, and it can also get to close to, if not 90% dodge chance, but it requires rare and hard to get items that require a lot of boss farming. Plus, they require more of your skills maxed out than this build does. Essentially, this dodge build works great and can be achieved before the end game, letting you make use of it for a lot more time. So what items do you need for this build? And how hard are these items to get? The good news is that the only things in this build that require boss farming are the rings. And even then, that can be optional. So everything in this build can be acquired from killing mobs, digging in the ground, and just finding them in the world. First item to focus on, and the easiest to get, are the Caveling Pants. These have a roughly 2% drop off of Cavelings, Caveling Shamans, and Caveling Brutes. So get these in the Forgotten Ruins, also known as the Stone Biome. Next, you'll want to get the Hunter's Cloak. This chest item has roughly a 2% drop off of Caveling Hunters. Those are the ranged guys in the green hoods that snipe you in the Azios Wilderness. For your rings, you have options. The easiest boss to farm is Glurch the Abominous Mass. This is the orange slime boss. Fortunately, this is the boss that you need to farm for the Melting Crystal Ring. It has a 22% drop chance, so it shouldn't take too long to get. However, if it's during the Easter season, or you happen to have any giant golden eggs, you can summon the Awakened Azios for the Ostara Ring. This has a 100% drop chance, so you only need to kill Awakened Azios twice to get 2 rings. But it is during a seasonal event, so you can't get these rings year-round. Both the Melting Crystal Ring and the Ostara Ring provide a 7% dodge chance, and that's really all you need for this build. However, the Ostara Ring also adds 0.9 hit points per second of health regen. So if you can get the Ostara rings, I highly recommend them. Finally, if boss farming is not your thing, you can always use the White Glass Rings. These only have a 6% dodge chance, but they also add a plus 18 max health and are a common item, making them easier to spawn. You can find them in the Sunken Sea biome within chests and destructible containers in the ruined cities. The bag slot doesn't matter. I prefer the Octarine bag because it provides glow, and there is nothing else in this set that provides any glow. The remaining items for this build can all be found in the Sunken Sea biome. First, we have the sunglasses. These provide a 9% dodge chance and can be found in any of the chests within the sea biome. So while you're exploring, if you see a chest, don't skip past it. It may have sunglasses in it. The Caveling ID is going to be your offhand item. This item can be found in chests and destructible items within the ruined cities, and adds a 10% bonus to your dodge chance. The last item in this build is probably the hardest item to get, and that is the conch shell necklace. It adds 8% to your dodge and can be found at a very specific location in the Sunken Sea biome. You need to find a small, circular island with a massive conch shell inside of it. Interact with the shell to get the necklace, and this one can take some exploring to find, so be patient. Once you have the gear, you also need the right skills. Fortunately, there are only 2 skills that matter: running and fishing. The easiest one to get is down the running tree, and that is balanced stance. When maxed out, this skill provides a 25% chance to dodge after you've been standing still for 3 seconds. For most bosses, this skill is an easy 25% boost. All of the slime bosses, Glurch and Malagos, all come to you. The Hive Mother doesn't move, and Azios, yeah, he moves, but it's more like he stays in one spot, then teleports to another, then stays in one spot, so he doesn't really move that much. And as of the making of this video, only Omeroth moves around enough to really nullify this dodge bonus. Now, let's talk about fishing. The skill Studied Patterns gives you a 10% dodge bonus, but it is pretty far down the fishing tree. A 10% dodge boost is really nice to have, but it is a big pain to get. Fishing is slow, and the mini game is tedious at best. To get your fishing high enough, you're going to need to spend about 40 hours or more in-game doing nothing but fishing. And I don't know about you, but that's just a little too boring for me. So I found a third-party program on GitHub that automates the fishing process for you. This lets me fish while I'm at work or asleep. Now, I will caution that there are some that would consider this to be cheating. And if fishing was less tedious, I would agree. But it is so slow and so boring that I just couldn't be bothered to fish. So I used the program, and if you're interested in using it as well, there will be a link in the description below. However, if you don't, good for you. You have much more stamina than I did. So a good way to accomplish 2 things at once is to work your fishing skill and gather good food for dodge chance at the same time. So to do this, I recommend fishing in sunken sea waters. The best fish food for dodge comes from the golden dartfish. And this fish is found in the sunken sea water. Combined with a bomb pepper, the spicy dart sushi provides additional dodge bonus for those of you who haven't gotten that extra 10% from fishing, or you don't have that extra 25% from the running tree. Depending on whether or not you've maxed out your cooking skill will determine what kind of spicy dart sushi you get. The basic one provides a 14% dodge bonus, while the rare version provides an 18% bonus, and the epic version provides a 21% dodge bonus. In addition, the spicy dart sushi also provides a bonus damage against bosses, and a bonus to movement speed, and the rare and epic versions also provide melee damage. So if you've already reached the 90% dodge from skills and gear, then the dodge food really isn't necessary, and you can focus on other foods that provide different bonuses. However, if you haven't completed your skills and or you haven't gotten all of your gear yet, then the food is an excellent way to augment your dodge skill. So what does the dodge build look like in action? Can you really farm every boss using this build? The answer is yes, you can. I created a hard mode world, and I used this dodge build to fight every boss. Now, I did use buff food when I was fighting Omeroth and Morpha, but I didn't on any of the other bosses. In the Morpha fight, I used the buff food for some extra damage against the boss, and during the Omeroth fight, I used the buff food to offset the loss of dodge while moving around, as well as provide some extra damage against the boss. Overall, I was able to beat every boss in hard mode using only a couple of heal potions when my HP got low. So do you want to see the fights? Of course you do. But before I slay each boss, I just want to say that I really hope that you enjoyed this video. So please hit that like button. It really does help me out. And if you want to see additional videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel as well. Also, if you could leave a comment below if you have any questions about what you've seen today, that would be wonderful. And now, without further ado, cue the boss montage. Enjoy!